In our spotlight tonight, Nike is being investigated by the federal government over its DEI policies. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission wants the court to enforce the subpoena it issued to Nike as it pursues allegations that the apparel giant discriminates against white workers. And it would be the first time that the government agency has taken action against a private company for such policies. In a statement to ABC News, Nike said that the move from the EEOC feels like a surprising and unusual escalation. And so for more on this, I want to bring in ABC News legal analyst and trial attorney Brian Buckmire and sneaker culture expert Kari Daniels. Welcome to you both today. But Kari, I want to start with you. You said this reads like a flat-out attack by the EEOC. I'm curious, why did you frame it like that?
It does feel like an attack because, when you really look at the nature of Nike as a company, right, this is a company that prides itself on inclusivity for all. As a matter of fact, one of the taglines for Nike is, if you have a body, then you're an athlete. Nike has always prided itself in all of its years and all of its history on a company that, seeks to include everyone, regardless of ethnicity, nationality, or what have you, race, creed, or color, in all the things that they do. Not only that, but they have a number of nonprofit partnerships. They have a number of highlighted programs across many different cultures and many different backgrounds to make sure that, everyone feels equally as important. So for this to come down from the EEOC, especially for a company that says that the majority of their employees, based on their recent numbers, are discriminated against, is odd to say the least.
Yeah, well, and Brian, something else that's interesting here, in its filing, the EEOC says that this wasn't triggered by internal workers' complaints, but it was done by publicly available information regarding Nike.
Yeah, so this charge was called the commissioner charge, meaning it's stemming from in the internal processes of the EEOC and not what we typically see where someone, for example, from Nike making a report as to a violation of their civil rights. What's going to happen, though, is that there's going to be an investigation. And just because there's a commissioner charge, it doesn't mean that there is a violation, only that the EEOC believes, at least on its face by some of these policies, that there are violations. The thing that sticks out to me, though, is unless you're seeing someone actually directly harmed and bringing forth these allegations, you're merely saying that the practice could lead to a violation, not necessarily that it does. But in their complaint, they do say that they're tracing some of the allegations from 2018.
Yeah, well, and that's a really good point. But Kari, listen, Nike manufactures in countries that are impacted by Trump's tariffs. They also have stakeholders that are proponents of DEI. You look at some of their biggest endorsement deals. It's LeBron James, Michael Jordan. So I'm curious. How is the company navigating this tight walk here?
Yeah, so in general, they're doing things to make sure that they're in compliance with federal law, right? So one of the things that they talk about is, I believe there are some previous diversity slates that used to be used at Nike that are no longer in practice. There was a time where, previous CEO John Donahoe, wanted to highlight the fact that, diversity was a thing and that, it was a more inclusive environment for minorities and marginalized people. But Nike also is a company at the end of the day that has to stay in compliance, again, with those federal laws. And they're doing so, So, it is, you're right. It is a very tight rope to walk because you are a company that does highlight athletes of color and different people, of color. And I don't think that we should lose sight of that. But at the end of the day, I do think that they're doing everything that they can and not only responding to this case, but making sure that they're also keeping up with public law as well.
Well, and Brian, you said that the EEOC is going to be looking back, quite a number of years here, which means this could be a significant investigation. But what would you be paying attention to here?
What the subpoena is asking for, because don't think that this just came out of nowhere. And that's kind of the surprise that Nike put out there. They were cooperating with the EEOC. And the only difference between cooperation, where you're handing over documents of your DEI program, you're handing over documents to show how the hiring and the firing and demotion and also the mentorship, and leadership programs work within your company. They say they were doing that, but the subpoena simply says now they're mandated by the court to do so. So it's an escalation in their tactics to get more information. And I want to see, one, what the requests are for, what years, what policies, what people. And then two, I want to see if more people come forward saying like, yes, this policy did negatively affect me, rather than me just having the commission going after Nike, it seems, on their own.
Yeah, definitely something interesting to watch. Brian Buckmire, Kari Daniels, hey, thank you both.